and I'll just retweet it, or I'll just take it from your tweet, put it on.
I just hope it works.
I really hope this works. Well, I mean, I don't really care how many people watch this one. I do, but I'd rather. This is just for getting it to work. All right. And then, is there a way we can see how many people are watching so we know when to start, or should we just start right away?
Yeah, we got people in now, it looks like.
Okay. Let me just tweet out the link, and then we'll be good to go. This is like, remember when KFC Radio was live with Dan and John?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I started right when it switched from YouTube.
What's up, everyone who's joining? We're just going to wait a couple minutes just to get if we just tweeted it out.
You just see me and Clem have a conversation for a couple minutes before watching us have a conversation about Game of Thrones, I guess.
Aaron,
by the way, that was an unbelievable Photoshop of me, you as Varys. That was so great.
I was like, Charlie wouldn't mind being Tyrion. There's nothing wrong with being Tyrion. He's
my friend who I was with saw it, and I was laughing, and he looked at it, and then he was like, is he like chirping you because he made you a dwarf? And I was like, he didn't get it, and I was like, no. Like, not at all.
I'm a bald guy without a dick in that picture, too. So it's not like I'm some fucking stud or anything.
Yeah, exactly. All right, wait, so talking.
I don't know if anyone is in there watching the stream. If there's a group chat, there should be. Again, this is almost like a soft launch. We're kind of just testing this out. The chat for us appears on the right side. The menu appears on the left. I don't know if you guys can chat. We'd love to be able to get the user interaction and whatnot, but if you can chat, if you're logged in on YouTube or Google or whatever, that'd be great. But if you can't, we'll have to figure out a way to make it work.
All right, 1 second. I'm just telling my buddy, click the link I tweeted and tell me if it works. All right, let's get started now. All right, 1 second. All right, everybody, welcome to the post Game of Thrones show presented by the Clem Report and myself, Charlie. We're here for the second consecutive year talking all things Game of Thrones. We are going to be doing this live now, obviously right before the season starts, the most anticipated season of TV in that at least I can remember since probably the final season of Breaking Bad, so the last in many, many years. And then we're going to be doing this after tonight's episode with Trent, who is a blogger for Barstool Sports. And we'll be talking to him about Game of Thrones, and we'll be doing one hence after every single episode of this season, each hosted by myself and Clem and a brand new guest. So we're really excited to be here. They'll be live here on YouTube. Maybe we can find out how to get on other platforms like Periscope and stuff like that, just to make it as many ways to watch it as possible. But Clem, how are you?
Doing good, man. The hype, I was pretty hyped before today started, and then I woke up and Twitter was a buzz from the fucking jump. Like people,
from the jump.
Yeah, like 7 a.m. people were waking up like Thrones, and I'm like, these are my people, man. This is why I fucking signed up for this app and why it's like embedded in my brain now, because those are my people.
I woke up early because I got back from Italy yesterday. I went on a family vacation, and so I was like on like weird European time. So I was up by like 7. Got on, it was already trending. Like people are tweeting at me already, like, what are you doing for the show? Like type thing. Like it was I haven't seen the only thing that I've ever really seen take over Twitter the extent that this Game of Thrones has is like the NBA Finals and the Super Bowl. That's pretty
yeah, like you said, Breaking Bad kind of had a little run in that last season or so too. And it's gotten to the point where it's like the Game of Thrones fans already, like the people that have never watched Game of Thrones can't stand the Game of Thrones fans, but the Game of Thrones fans also can't stand those Game of Thrones fans that are making it annoying for it's like there's so many people doing it. There's so many little factions now.
Yeah, it's become factionalized. It's become, well, it's gotten big enough to the point where it's like someone made the point yesterday. They're like, Mayweather McGregor is big enough now where it's bigger than sports. Like even people who know nothing about sports, let alone combat sports, know a boxing guy and an MMA guy is fighting. Game of Thrones is like that. Even if you don't watch the show, you can't ignore it. And the people who don't watch the show still feel the need to comment on the fact. Like I saw Big Cat just had a tweet about the fact that he doesn't watch the show because like you almost have to address it if you don't. And yeah. I don't get, like I saw Smitty and Big Cat both tweeted about it. I don't get upset when people don't watch the show. And I understand Game of Thrones fans can be sensitive. And I'm not one of those annoying people who's like, if you don't watch the show, I think you're too good for it. The people I get annoyed at are the people who like judge others for, or the people who just try to like spoil it for everyone else and like act like they're too cool for it because the show has elements of, or it is a fantasy show. Those are the people who I hate.
Yeah, as a Star Wars fan, I'm on that side too. But like, if you're a Star Trek fan, even before I was a Star Wars fan, I didn't become a Star Wars fan until I was like in my teens, and everyone's like, "Oh, Star Wars nerds!" Like this day and age, everyone's a fucking nerd anyway. The world is Robbie Fox's oyster. The world is Robbie Fox's oyster right now because he is the face of the new world, and that's no not a dig at my boy. That's nothing but love.
I love
But yeah, it's gotten to the point, like even The Bachelor, like I don't watch The Bachelor. People like The Bachelor. They take over my Twitter feed for like an entire day. That's just how it fucking works. You have to live with it. Same when WWF is good and everyone's watching that, then you just have to kind of live with it. So
I would love to like have like a study of why like certain things take over Twitter. Like what makes something, but like why is it that The Bachelor, because it's not like those are like necessarily the most watched shows, but how come it seems to like, why does Game of Thrones, like The Bachelor, like every like sports, like those seem to, especially basketball more than any other one, like just seem to like hack the social media algorithm. It makes no sense. So here's the question everyone's going to be asking who watched the show last year. You are the many snacks god. I didn't bust out the nicknames. I'm only going to bust out the nicknames when we do. This is like the soft opening. I'm waiting for the hard opening because I think people are going to be hyped when they hear those nicknames for the first time. And I got a new one yesterday that I can't wait to debut. It's gonna be like, although the length, now that we have 12 nicknames for you, we're getting like Jesus and Marrow length, where like if you listen to the Bodega Boys, it's like the first 5 minutes of every episode is their nicknames. But you are the many snacks god, and you were known for, you and your wife, your lovely wife, Mrs. Clem, always has Game of Thrones themed snacks that she puts out. Is she doing it again tonight?
I'm sad to say the kid broke us finally. 2.5 years old.
No.
Mrs. Clement, like right now, my parents are upstairs. They're rewatching the finale from last season, and my wife is sleep training my daughter to go down in her room by herself. The Clem family is so goddamn washed, but hopefully next year or like at least next episode. But you know what? This is the thing. I also see like all these.
That makes me really upset. That's like. That I literally just came from 30 minutes ago, my buddy telling me I just got a job and I'm moving to a different city, and I'm more upset to hear that you don't have Game of Thrones snacks. Like, to me, that's a more significant like indicator of the passage of time than like the fact I've graduated college and everyone's moving on.
This is the saddest shit, dude. Like, we don't even have, like, all our friends moved away too, so it's like I just be making like 1,000 little finger sandwiches to just like eat by myself. I don't need to be eating like 10 peanut butter and jellies because I like it came with a cute name. But you know, I'm saying it right now. For the finale of this season, I'm fucking doing it again. Chuck, you can come up if you want. We'll have a little fucking party. Actually, we can't. We have to do this. So we'll have to figure something out.
But but most of my friends who watch Game of Thrones are my college friends. For some reason, my high school friends haven't taken to it the way that my college friends have. And so, but I have like a few who watch it here, and they'll always be like, since I've like got this rep as like the Game of Thrones guy, to like invite me to like watch parties and stuff like that. And I always am like, no, like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have to answer people's questions. I don't want people like on their phones. Like, when I watch Game of Thrones, I want to watch it with people who I know are like locked in on the show and have absolutely nothing. Because I don't know about you, but to get on to our first topic, yes, we're now just getting on to our first topic. This is, to me, the most highly anticipated season. This is the most I've ever anticipated a season. And I know that people say I always use hyperbole and that, you know, Rear Admiral especially always says the newest thing's always the greatest thing for you. But I really do mean it this time, because last season was the first one beyond the books. So as someone like me who's like read most of the books, I knew what was going to happen. That didn't take anything away from my enjoyment of the show, clearly. I mean, it's still my favorite show of all time. But I still knew. And last season was the first one where that wasn't the case, where the show got ahead of the book. So it should have been in uncharted territory. But like, I had all these predictions. And I know some people actually said they didn't like reading my blog, because I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. They were like, you and Clem were too accurate. Your predictions were so spot on, to the point where you and I guessed like specific scenes. So,
yeah. I honestly are most of like the ones I got right last year. I wasn't even where they weren't even true guesses. I went against myself. I pulled the Costanza because I know this show always mind fucks you, and I got those right just because I was like going against like the grain and like it's like when you bet on like a football Sunday and you're going, all right, I'm going to pick the whoever the Rams are playing against, blah blah blah, and then you just go fuck it. Now I'm picking the Rams, and that's what I did. And we were on fire last year, Chuck. I'll give us credit when it's due.
Well, I said, and this is why this is not just to encourage people to read the blogs and listen to the podcast, although it sort of is. I'm not just saying this but like I said last season, I was like, it's not an opinion that Arya is going to leave the House of Black and White. I was like, it's a fact. She's going to. Like Sansa is going to be is going to be there when Ramsay dies. Like Daenerys in the last scene is going to be Daenerys sailing towards Westeros. And I was just like so certain of them. We even called Arya. We're like, she's going to use her blindness. That's going to be the advantage she uses to kill someone, by cutting out that. So we even called that. I have no idea what's going to happen this season. Everyone's asking me what. I have some general ideas. I think I know things that are going to happen in the show. I don't know if they're going to happen this season or the next. But in terms of predictions, I have. That, there's nothing I think is an absolute slam dunk to happen. There was no way Jon Snow was going to actually be dead. There was no way this wasn't going to be when Daenerys was going to sail. There was no way Arya was going to stay in Bravos. There were just all these Sansa wasn't going to stay with Ramsay. There was so many. Tommen wasn't going to stay king. There was no way that those things were going to happen. That you could make predictions. We're at a point now, and this is why I'm so excited for the season, where I genuinely don't really know what's going. I have no idea. I'm as along for the ride as everyone else is. As the casual fans are.
Yeah, so I feel like on a macro sense, we kind of have an idea where it's going to obviously Daenerys is already by the time at least. Actually, maybe the premiere, she might be still in the fucking water because they took their time getting her.
She'll be Dragonstone, I would predict.
I hope so. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I hope it's not an episode or two for her to land. But it's the White Walkers are coming over the wall. That Daenerys is probably going to go.
I actually don't know that. But I don't know if that'll happen this season.
Oh yeah, sure.
It could totally happen. I have no idea the timing of things. So you don't know. If you don't know the timing, you don't know the scale of which is going to happen. If Arya's going to leave Bravos and it's going to happen this season, you have an idea of what the general pace of her storyline is going to be. But if it's something I'm reasonably sure that Cersei's going to die and it's probably going to be Jaime who does it. That's just a prediction I've had since season 2. So I think that's going to happen, but that might not be next season. So I don't know what's going to happen in between, and what happens in between could drastically change my prediction. So it's not, there's so much, I don't know, there's just so much wiggle room and freedom for the writers to go. And they're also at a point now where there's no natural conclusion to Daenerys landing in Westeros. She could succeed, she could fail, she could abandon and join Jon Snow. There's so many directions she could go that they could direct the storyline anywhere they want. It's not as simple as, all right, Jon Snow is going to take the North. He's either going to succeed and be like Lord of Winterfell, or he's going to fail and then he'll be dead. It was sort of one or the other. Now there's it's like a shotgun spray. There's all sorts of directions that they can potentially take the show.
Yeah, I feel like we have an idea where it's headed, but it's how we get there and all the fallout that comes from it. And then things like the Clegane Bowl, have no idea if that's coming sooner or later, if it's going to come at all. But there's just kind of stuff bait kind of in front of us. If Jaime and Cersei have that kind of confrontation, Arya just coming and fucking murdering fools out of the blue. There's a lot of ways it's going to go here. And it's the reason the show is the show and why everyone loves it. And by the way, I figured out where the chat is. So I apologize to everyone who was chatting for the last 10 minutes.
Oh.
I had to open this up on YouTube to see the actual chat. Shout out to on Twitter, Smith Rugby 1 for letting us know. So there is some stuff there. The group chat we see, I guess our internal chat on the thing. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cause I was going to say, I only see you. And I was getting really insecure that nobody was watching this. I was I felt like I invited everyone to my birthday party and nobody showed up. All right.
We got a shout out to the Big Baller Brand shirt. We got a shout out to the Latvia flag back there. I got my USA jersey.
Baller Brand. It's actually not mine. I borrowed it from my brother. I can't pretend like I'm a big baller. And I don't wait for him to leave that. I asked him to borrow it for the podcast and he said no, because you're not a big baller. But he left the house and I was able to. It's a super comfortable shirt. Shout out to Big Baller. All right, let's get into actually the specific topics. We'll probably need a third or fourth like we're doing this live, like probably need somebody whose job it is just to read us questions. So that might be somebody who we hire. Okay. Here's one. If what I got this sent in a million different forms the last 2 days. If one person's going to die this season of the main characters, who do you think it'll be? I have 2 answers that I can go with right now if you are currently, if you want time to think about it.
You can go. I mean, it also depends what a main character is. Like,
yeah, that's my main thing. So my main
5 or 10.
Yeah, if my main character, if you're talking about main character, I think all of them are going to survive. If we're talking about main characters, I would say they're 6. Arya, Sansa. No, more than 6. It'd be Jon, Sansa, the 3 Lannisters, Daenerys, and I guess Arya, so 7. If you're talking about those main characters, I think they're all going to survive. And the reason they're all going to survive, not that I think that HBO influences the Game of Thrones writers or business, because I don't think they do. I think HBO does an excellent job of giving creative freedom to the total creative freedom to their staffs. And that's why they produce such consistently excellent products. But I think that they're probably going to want just the show itself. Next season of Game of Thrones is going to be the most anticipated season of TV of all time. Like it just is, like, full spot. Like it's going to be the most hyped this season, all the way cranked up to what the Breaking Bad finale was. Almost if you like multiplied those 2 things, they're going to want all their super main characters alive for that. If one were to die before then, I guess Cersei would be my guess, but I do think that they'll probably all survive. If we're talking about that secondary main characters, which I know is technically an oxymoron or whatever, I would go Peter Baelish. My one closest thing to a slam dunk prediction that I have for the season is that Peter Baelish dies, and I think it's going to be Sansa to do it, either directly or indirectly. I don't think directly. I think she'll have him killed. So I think Peter Baelish would be for my secondary main. For main, I would go Cersei, but I think they're actually all pretty safe.
I'll say Cersei would have been my choice, but I also think that because Euron's going to kind of become the big bad guy, if it sounds, him and the Night's King. So I think she might be like, her end might be the signaling of those guys, the Night's King and Euron Greyjoy, kind of rising up as the 2 big baddies to end the series. But if I didn't choose Cersei, I'd say Arya, just because she's kind of lost her way. I think she may end the list. And then she's had, like, her life is so sad and almost, I don't want to say pointless now, but it's become such a sad, like, background that I love. Hey, don't get me wrong. I love a girl who just murders fucking people that I hate. If I could hire an Arya right now just to like take people out in my proverbial hypothetical world, I just might do it. That's my choice. And I think, I don't know if he's considered a secondary guy, but Tormund and Brienne Tarth, I think, might be going down. And I am terrified of it.
And Brienne Tarth might be going down and
on each other.
That would be the most shocking thing Game of Thrones has ever seen. We saw a pregnant woman get her stomach stabbed. We've seen a guy get his throat ripped out by dogs. If this Tormund Brienne of Tarth scene that has been, the chemistry has been bubbling, at least on one side, if that actually goes down, that'd be HBO going somewhere where it has never gone before.
I stayed at a hotel last week and Tormund was on my fucking room key. Like he's all fucking dialed up, he's like a hotels.com spokesman. I'm like, look at fucking Tormund getting after it.
I thought you were about to tell me Tormund was in your hotel. I'm so excited. Oh my God.
But if Podrick goes down, that's how, like, I was sad when Hodor died. I wasn't on like the sadness that everyone else was on. Podrick's been my dude for a while now, and like I'll be in mourning for like a full week if he dies.
A girl tweeted at me this week. I guess it's
congrats on the sex.
It was a big moment for me. It was a big family moment. My dad was proud. No, a girl I guess like it was hypothetical somewhere of like someone tweeted something about if Barstool employees were Game of Thrones characters, who would everyone be? And she responded, Charlie is Podrick, and I've never been so upset. I was so mad. I was like, I am nothing like Podrick. I like Podrick, but Podrick's like that one friend in the friend group where everyone's like, yeah, I love that guy. And everyone's like, oh yeah, you two are similar. It's like, never say that to me ever again. But like, I like him, but I don't want to be him. What storyline are you the most excited for out of all the main characters? The main 7.
Daenerys. I just want to see which like. That's the thing. I rewatched the Battle of the Bastards last night, and I was all excited to see the battle. Obviously, the battle, and I forgot how it starts with her and the dragons just lighting those fucking slave masters up, and it was like I was like, wow, like we haven't even seen her at her full strength.
Their
full
CGI budget must be insane. Like I'm not even kidding. Knowing like I think don't those dragons cost like $400,000 per second of screen time, or like per like 30 seconds of screen time or something like that. Like,
I don't understand how that's possible. Like graphic designers are that expensive. Like, are they making it out of like platinum? You have to like melt down platinum to like use CGI machines.
So they have to get that. They get each individual scale is going to be individually like made and put on the dragon. Like that's what I assume. It's like how the Lego movie was so expensive because the way they animated the movie was they built each Lego and put them together like they were real Legos. I think that's what they did. Like they literally like straight up Westworld style like created these dragons. Like I read an article back because I was wondering the same thing, but it's just like also I'd assume that these animators have more or less a monopoly where they can charge studios wherever they want. Because you know how many people can do it to a really high quality scale that aren't all, Pixar can't do it. Pixar's owned by Disney. They're not going to do an HBO show. Like how many animators to the standard HBO needs? Where you have Game of Thrones, people are renting out movie theaters, Clem. People are renting out movie theaters to watch it. Yeah, Frank Kaminsky was telling me, talk to an NBA athlete, no big deal, that he's renting out movie theaters to watch the show.
That's awesome.
Like literally, like that's how big it is. So like people are starting to like they need them to be pretty good.
Frank Kaminsky's renting out a movie theater to watch Game of Thrones, and I'm using my parents' HBO Go password.
Well, for the finale, he's gonna probably come on this podcast. He said he will. So hopefully we can get him on pretty soon. What mine for what I'm the most excited for is Cersei, just because I think I've blogged this a million times. I think Cersei's gonna go absolutely fully crazy because the only thing that even somewhat anchored her were her children, and they're all dead, and it's her fault for at least two of them. You could argue all three, so definitely one. So yeah, she's gonna go. I just think absolutely nuts, and that's ultimately why I think Jaime's gonna kill her because Jaime's already the Kingslayer. I think he's gonna become the Queenslayer too, and have to make a similar decision to save the population of King's Landing. What storyline are you the most intrigued by? Not excited for, but you're just like, I really wonder what's gonna happen here. For me, the obvious answer is Arya. Game of Thrones writers are going to have to get creative because there's no obvious, like I said earlier, there's no obvious direction for the show to go. I don't even know what Arya is going to do this season. Like I have no idea how she fits into the puzzle, and they're going to have to like find something for her because right now, as awesome as it would be to see her just murder people, which would be awesome and will be awesome because she's going to do that, there's still like an element where like Walder Frey had nothing to do with the plot at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with anything. Having her just kill people, it's just sort of a waste of screen time, especially when there are 2 seasons left. So they're gonna have to get her like involved and in the mix somehow. And there are multiple. She can go in 2 directions. She either goes north and joins Sansa and Jon, or she goes south to kill Lannisters. So I would imagine it'd be one of those 2 things. I have no idea really what else it could be, but that's the one I'm the most intrigued by.
Mine is the Littlefinger Sansa dynamic, which kind of then bleeds into Jon Snow because there is going to be some sort of a power struggle or whatever you may have, and just the way Littlefinger works, like you're going to think he's going one way, you think he's zigging, but he's really zagging the whole time behind the scenes, and he could and like you said, Sansa, you feel like sooner or later she's going to be able to like finally stop catching L's, and like the closest thing I guess was
they can't keep doing this to this poor girl. They can't just keep doing it, like where everything bad that can happen to a person happens directly to her. Like that's my everybody says, like, because everyone's saying if you could buy stock in one character, I'm like Sansa without a doubt. And my whole reasoning is the saying, what goes up must go down. What's been down the entire time for 6 years and getting brutally stepped on has to come up at some point. And it's already started to kind of happen. But I mean, like this poor girl, like it can't just be a constant string of abuse. There has to be some sort of balance to her storyline. right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But the thing is, like, she's with like the most dangerous person in the whole fucking game. Just when you think you have all the answers, I change the question. That's Littlefinger. He's fucking Rowdy Roddy Piper. So,
True, but then again, she also learned from the best because she's learned to play the Game of
True.
Thrones pretty well so far from him, and she looks like Catelyn Stark, which has been demonstrably his only weakness.
Yep.
So there's a good chance that that she has the keys to beat him. She's the only one who does. It's really her Varys to be his downfall. There's no one else who's even closely equipped to doing it. Because
if her and Varys teamed up, that would be sick. If Varys could get to her with one of his little birds, and then he kind of helps Sansa, conquer Littlefinger, I'd be all in for that. I'm excited for that potential.
And he had an affinity for Sansa in King's Landing, so it's already an established relationship where there's at least some level of trust.
And let's call it what it is. Sansa, like, she had like a easy childhood growing up, but she's gone through the school of hard fucking knocks right now. So like, she's not going to feel bad about betraying anybody. She's gone through shit with Ramsay and Joffrey and the Lannisters and her dad getting beheaded, the whole nine. So I'm excited for that.
The two worst characters so far, she was married and was repeatedly assaulted and beaten by both of them. So, and Euron Greyjoy, the actor who plays him, said, I'm going to make Joffrey and Ramsay look like little kids. So, like, maybe they're just going to marry Euron. Maybe she'll just get married to Euron, and they're just going to put this poor girl through it all over again. By the way, I found out the other day Sophia Turner's my age. That was intriguing to me, too. All right, we're going to go down to Twitter questions. I'm sorry that we can't watch the YouTube questions to answer them right now.
I got them if we need them.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Okay, do you want to answer questions for like 10 more minutes? And then I got like a couple that we'll just give quick answers then to these Twitter questions. Like,
sure. Couple of people said how cool would it be for a cold open, like Arya wiping out the phrase, or I would love a cold open. A cold open kind of just gets you fucking into it. You know what I mean? You're expecting that theme song, and then it's just boom. Any thought on?
Well, the only cold open they have ever had in show history was the reveal of the Hound being back, and it was just unbelievable. Also, the master of the cold open to me will always be Breaking Bad, and it was just like perfect. I would love to see something like that, like something that seems so central to the plot, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, like something just hits you in the face. If they can do that straight up Vince Gilligan style cold open, that'd be unbelievable. But then again, when 9 o'clock hits, man, like, I want to see. I'm looking forward to two things. I want a little N on the parental advisory for the community. Yep. A V for violence. That's when I'm like, it's gonna be a lit episode. And then I want to hear the dun dun da da dun da. When there are, I don't know. I'm probably outing my family as being like mad corny about Game of Thrones right now. When that theme song goes on, there are cheers in the Wisco household. Like, there are all 8 of us. Yes, I'm in a family of 8. Like, all like stand up and start clapping. Like, everyone's like, let's go. Like, it's Giants football games, Yankees playoff game. That's what unites like all 8 of my family members.
Nothing gets it moving when you see like a new city pop up, or like, a city you haven't seen in a while. You're like, oh shit, we're going there this episode or this season.
Oh my god, yeah, you're like, we're going to, and then the opposite though. Then sometimes you see Dorne and you're like, no, stop it, just don't. Like you can just cut the loss, like just leave it, like it's fine. It's like when you have to drop a class in college. It's like, I know it's going to come up as an incomplete. Like, it's just better to leave it incomplete than keep going.
Agreed.
All right, for Twitter question. First one I got was from Dan. Why is Game of Thrones so wildly overrated? Hey, Dan, shut up. Next question. It's actually my 7th grade lacrosse coach. How significant will Bran truly be, and will there be a twist with him controlling everything?
He better be fucking important, because he's wasted a shitload of my goddamn time. I think like him and Sam, who we got to question, is Sam like is the worst storyline ever. Like, those guys have to be important, because you just don't put guys like that on a show this good unless there's some sort of payoff in the end. At least that's what I tell myself.
Yeah, they're gonna have the same type of importance too, which is that they're gonna be expository opportunities through Bran's visions and Sam's reading and learn from his book learning. They're gonna be able to like look back in time and explain to us like certain things like that will be critical to understanding the show. Like, why do the seasons occur? Who are the White Walkers? What's the identity of the Night's King? Where did they all come from? Who's Jon Snow's parents? That one was already answered. Like, things like that, like just into the past of the show, they're going to be our window. So he will be, and as the show becomes more and more fantasy based as time goes on, which it has with every passing season, that'll make the insight that they offer us all the more important. So yeah, they'll be significant. Marshall, 1 through 10. How unfortunate Loras got tortured, confessed, only to be killed 5 minutes later. That's kind of like a girlfriend saying, "Just be honest with me," and then you do, and then she just breaks up with you right after. Like having a big. I never got that. Whenever people tell me, they're like, "Yeah, like we broke up and had this big fight." I'm like, "Why would you fight when like you're already broken up? Like, why would you bother going through the fight? Like, just leave." Like that. Like that's what you can do. Do you have any Laura's thoughts or?
No, I mean, RIP to the whole fucking family, basically. I'm happy the Queen of Thorns is out. I feel like we might get her one more time with some sass. But that was an awesome scene. Like that scene.
Dude, I saw people trash it. There was a scene, there was an episode on Complex Pop Culture. There was like an article someone wrote. They were like, Marjorie's death was terrible because like they were so fine. It was like so sudden and like she deserved more. Like it was it was just terrible and stupid from the die. I was like, no, guys, like that's the point. Like part of the show is like life goes that quickly and like can be just like Cersei just snatching it away from him. Like it was totally the point that she died so quickly.
And I fucking, it broke my heart she died so quickly because I was like, she is the Kim Kardashian of Westeros. I thought that was a great nickname and a great comparison for her because she would just marry person to person trying to make her way up.
She might be hotter than Kim K too. She is
100 billion% hotter than Kim K. But at the end, it was like
Trent's heart.
But in the end, just all the people just getting wiped off as Cersei just drinks from that goblet, and that music was incredible. So, yeah,
the pacing and sequencing of that whole like 15-minute clip was, I think, I've never walked away from a TV show or even maybe a movie more just impressed. Like not even just like, and I'm not saying that as like a douchey nose in the air, like I study film type person, because those people can be the absolute worst. But it really, the only thing I could think of was to compare it to was the baptism scene in The Godfather where they settle all family business. Yep. We were just like, this is so incredibly like well shot and well done. Like they put so much thought into it. They picked the perfect music where I'm just like, even from and I know I've never made a film. I've never taken a class in filmmaking. I've never done it. But I was like, even just from like a filmmaking perspective, this is amazing. So that makes you want to be like a film snob buff. When you see shit like that, you're like, that's fucking cool. That's using stuff and words I can't even use with my small blocker brain. Exactly. Like I looked up, like I was looking up, like going to like totalfilm.com and like really sites like that to like look it up, because I was like, I want to know what this is. And it was actually, it's a pretty cool world. That's why I blog about it pretty much exclusively now. Liam asked, any surprise I'm not dead twist this season? I'm trying to think. I guess I assume that like Jon Snow wasn't really dead, or I guess he was and came back. The Hound wasn't really dead. The only person you could really say that about would be Stannis Baratheon. So I guess it really comes down to, is Stannis Baratheon actually dead? I know KFC feels pretty strongly he's not. I think he is.
I think he's dead. I think he's very much dead. In terms of not dead, the only thing it's like a technicality not dead. I think Hodor could come back as a White Walker. I've seen theories about there are people just thinking that's a potential thing. I kind of love it because there was all the Hodor hate, and having this big motherfucker just go Hodor, and just socking fools. That would be hilarious.
Although the original way he was supposed to die, I know. Remember that blog Trent did, where I guess they came.
Oh yeah,
getting ripped apart. So then you wonder if there like wouldn't be enough of him to make a White. That would be heartbreaking. They'll have to kill what Hodor has to die twice. This is a true story. Hodor is a DJ. Do you know that?
Yeah, Toronto DJ.
He came to Madison my last week of college, and I didn't go. I was so furious at myself, and the place he performed was like on State Street, like the place where I go I went 4 or 5 nights a week, like all the time throughout college. I could have seen DJ Hodor perform, and I told myself, like, me and my buddies, like, we're gonna do it, and then we just forgot the night of and didn't do it. I've never hated myself more, just for like missing an event than I missed that. Zach asks, least favorite major character besides Sam and Gilly? I love it.
I don't know.
I have one that's gonna piss everyone off.
I have to think of I mean, like, I kind of love Littlefinger now because he's such a snake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like LeVar Ball. Like, You have to love him at this point.
I mean, everyone in Dorne. Like, just give me everyone in Dorne.
Yeah.
That's like, they're not even main characters. I don't really. That's the point. We've weeded out everyone I really don't like, other than Sam and Gilly.
I don't mind Sam. I don't like Sam and Gilly's story, but I don't mind them. All right, you want to know who my least favorite? And I like them all, but who my least favorite is? And I know this is going to get.
I'm excited.
Daenerys.
I like it. That's the kind of take you need right now. Like, I like won't shake your hand next time I see you, but I kind of like that.
No, I don't dislike her, but the number one sin that you can commit in Game of Thrones that gets you killed is people who don't know what they don't know. And Daenerys is the ultimate in that, and just like always thinking that she has all the answers all the time. And she's never really paid for it. So it just like makes me scratch my head. But
it would be.
I also think she's one of the three characters along Tyrion and Jon Snow who's pretty much guaranteed to survive through the finale.
Yeah, like all the people are supposed to be like 5 years younger, like in the books, right? So it's like if it was a 12-year-old girl fucking up, you'd be like, she would annoy you with all her stupid. She'd be like, but she is a 12-year-old idiot.
Right. Yeah, Dany's supposed to be like my age. She's supposed to be 21. 22 and 22 now. Do you ever forget how old you are? I do that all the time.
Now I just try to forget. I used not to be able to remember. Now I try to forget.
All right. Robert asks for the last Twitter question: when does Theon have a meltdown? He is the weirdest spot. He's in the weirdest spot of all characters. Where's his hidden agenda? I don't think Theon has a hidden agenda. I think he was that broken by Ramsay. I think he's not even a person. Like Ramsay reduced him into being something less than human.
That's a good point. I think Theon, as fucked up as it is, like I don't know if Theon ever got power back, if he could be corrupted again. I think he has the purest intentions out of literally every single person on this show, because he has nothing inside him anymore. He's not even a human. He's an empty shell. He's like when you get that fucking chocolate Easter bunny and you're so ready to eat it and it's hollow inside, you're just like, what a piece of shit Easter bunny. I want a legit solid chocolate Easter bunny. That's what Theon is right now, a hollow Easter bunny chocolate.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like I think that's definitely true, but it was actually a pretty good commentary on I'm stealing this from, I think someone in back when Grantland was alive wrote it, but they were like, it was actually a really good commentary on torture because it shows how you can take somebody from becoming human to becoming something less. And that's exactly what they did with him. Like he's just not even. So what's his hidden agenda? I think he's just sort of drifting through life at this point, and whatever like power figure is closest to him, whether it's Yara, or Yara's going to hook up with Ilaria Sand this season, by the way. Yara or Sansa or, Ramsay or whatever. He's just going to gravitate and try to please that figure. But I don't know. Maybe he could die. He could easily die this season. He should has he paid for? I felt bad for him by last season, and I was actually hoping he died because I think he's at a point now where that's the most merciful thing that can happen to him. And I felt sorry for him, and I was like, oh, he's paid for his debt. Like, what he did was terrible, but he's been through so much. I think at this point, the karmic retribution's been enough. The other season, when they've been marathoning on HBO, it was the King of the North scene where Rob, everyone declares King of the North. And I forgot Theon was the first to do it. And he was like, am I your brother forever and always? And Rob was like, always. And he said, then, my sword is always yours. And as soon as he did, I was like, no, I hate you. I want you to be tortured again. I want Ramsay to come alive just to torture you. It wasn't enough. I hate you that much. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the sweet taste of death is probably the best thing that could ever happen to Theon, but he hasn't paid. He's gone through hell and back, but you deserve that and more. I mean, what he did to the farmer boys, and passed them off as the Starks, and literally every Stark that's died for a while now is on his hands for one action or another. And all the goddamn dire wolves that died because of him too. Fuck Theon. Dude, I had so many people tweet at me and write in for the mail blog just that I did last week, being all like, what do you think? Is Nymeria going to come back? Is the Shaggy Dog going to or Shaggy Dog's already dead, but asking me about the direwolves. And I was like, why do you guys care so much about the direwolves? I don't know if I'm outing myself as not being enough of a dog person. So I'm I don't care about the direwolves. I care about they were in the direwolves got each maybe 20 minutes of screen time. Total, except for Ghost. Why? They didn't they weren't ever that big. Everyone's well, the direwolves have to come back. why do they have to come back? Like they're not. I don't think they're that critical a part. I don't think they were ever that critical a part of the show. Do you think so?
No. I just think we kind of got attached to them in the Starks so early, and then they just slowly led us out of that love. George R. R. Martin took all our love out of our life quickly, and no one, like, you can believe that the Starks aren't going to come back because they're dead, and you just hope like some remnant of them comes back.
Do you
not happening.
Resent George R. R. Martin?
No, I love him, man. I mean, I love the story. I love what it's done. And you know what? Like he says, a lot of this is rooted in real life shit. Like life sucks. Like the Lannisters and people like that usually win because they are cold calculated, have the money, don't mind crossing lines and stuff like that. And that's just how it is. Like maybe being old and fucking washed up, you just kind of realize that's how life works at sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Wedding happened in real life. Like that happened in the Scottish Civil War. So it's yeah, you're right. It's stuff like that where there are sometimes just families with blonde hair and a lot of money who are able to do whatever it takes to get to the top, and they end up actually succeeding and just fucking up an entire country in the process. That sometimes happens, guys, in Game of Thrones and elsewhere. So we should probably just all learn how to deal with that. Are there any more YouTube questions, or do you think we should wrap this up and leave people to...
Yeah, we'll just do like a couple questions, just like 5-word answers. Over under 3.5 episodes until we see Sam.
Under, way under. We'll probably see him this one.
I agree. I say next episode. Over under 3.5 deaths tonight. Doesn't have to be main character deaths, but deaths.
I'll go with under. It's either going to go way over or way under. You know, like it's either going to be 0 or it's going to be like Lannister, because we know Lannister forces are going to fight Unsullied at some point this season. We saw that in the preview. So I'll go under, but you know,
I'll go over just in case, like a little skirmish breaks out.
Knowledge. Like that's something I think we should know. Like there are other pods, and there are a million shows that do what we do that actually have like full staffs and technology behind them, not 2 guys on a laptop. And they like talk to the screenwriters and have like some sort of insider knowledge. Like The Ringer is like directly affiliated with HBO, like all that kind of stuff. We know nothing, but I think that's why people like us, because we're just like the people who watch it. Like we know, like everyone asks me, they're like, how do you know so much of Game of Thrones? I'm like, dude, I watch as much as you do. Like there's nothing that's available to me that's not available to you. I'm just have no life, and I've just watched the show 6 times. like it's really that. But like there's nothing, like we have no insider knowledge. So like like I think it's under, but then again, I could be proven wrong in the first 5 minutes and it wouldn't shock me.
Wall coming down this season, yes or no?
No.
I'd say it's going to be the finale will be the wall tumbling down. What should we expect from the White Walkers this season?
They're going to become the main plot.
Yep.
They're going to become at least the second biggest storyline. I think they'll be pretty quiet. I think the last season is going to be mainly White Walkers. I think Euron Greyjoy kind of becomes the guy. But, like, again, like we still have to have the whole Lannister thing play out. So we'll see. Yeah, Daenerys. It comes down to, is Daenerys going to see it as her mission to take over Westeros, or is Jon Snow going to convince her that her mission is to fight White Walkers? That'll determine how big of a part of the plot it is. And if she does decide to, then that's the show. That's just
that's the show.
Yeah.
I forgot about this. Someone tweeted about Robin Aaron. I think that's my least favorite character still in the show. I forgot he was anymore. Fuck
Robin Aaron. Is he? I bet he dies.
He definitely dies. He dies this season, I'd say, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I bet he dies. I hope he dies. Is that weird? Is that a bad thing to say about someone who's like 9? No. I don't know. You have kids. I didn't know if you would think that.
I'd wish if like Ramsey Bolton had a kid, I'd wish that baby died. I don't give a shit.
Well, a baby did die. His younger brother did die.
Yeah, his brother died, and it helped him. That's how fucked up the show is. It's like that happens, and it helps him.
I forgot that happened until now. Sure. So I was replying to a tweet from Barstool Chief and then we'll end it. Where shout out to Chief Ryan. What up, Ryan? I hope you're watching this. Where he was talking, I was ranking the Game of Thrones like fathers for Father's Day, best and worst. And I was like, oh, the worst is Craster. And
I saw that.
He was like, well, no, Stannis. I was like, I don't remember who Craster is, but Stannis is definitely the worst. He burned his daughter alive. I was like, oh, Craster is the wildling who lives north of the wall, who has a concubine of his own daughters that he rapes and turns into his wives to have more daughters that he can later rape, and also take the sons and offer them as human sacrifices to White Walkers. So just like type that out matter of factly, which is what is true. And then I just like read it over again. And I was like, this is my favorite show. Like,
yeah.
Like, this is the thing I watch. Like, I don't think I'm a dark person. Am I a dark person? Like why am I so drawn to this? Like, that's the most horror. Like, I could never imagine something like that. I was like, and I was like, wow, how well written. Like, what a great plot.
When he said that too about like worst dad in the year plot, and I was like, oh man, like this is gonna be such a fun reveal. Like I'd love to see his reaction, be like, oh, that guy crashed.
I forgot about that guy, but like I totally forgot until it just organically came up in conversation 2 minutes ago. I was like, oh yeah, Ramsey let his dogs eat his mother-in-law and their baby while she begged them to spare her and then said, let it just kill me, save the baby. And then we just like watched it and we were all like, what an interesting twist. That was, by the way, and this is my last thing. Ramsey killing his father, Roose, was to me the single most shocking character twist of the show.
Yeah.
That's a super hot take, I know.
That was a big twist.
The only thing he cared about was his father. Like I thought that was the only thing he was truly loyal to. So
that's when you know the dog's off the leash. You know what I mean? He wasn't even on a leash anymore. He was just ready to eat whatever came his way. So
a good one. All right, we'll wrap this up now because there are only about 10 minutes, so everybody can get their snacks, go to the bathroom before the show. We are going to be on at 10:15. We'll tweet about it for that 15 minutes. I'll be nauseating, reminding people to click on the link. So please do that. We'll have Trent joining us, Trent Ryan, who is a New York City slicker who used to be from Iowa. So he'll be joining us to talk about the show. We'll be doing this pods they'll each be about a half hour long, and they'll be me and Clem with another guest. Hopefully we have some people who've said that they're going to come on. Anish Shroff from ESPN had some interest. Mike Golick Jr. from the Mike and Mike Show. Frank Kaminsky, a couple of guys like Coley from Mixtape. I'm sure might be interested. We'll ask the KFC Radio guys. We'll ask everyone. I don't know who else watches the show.
Yeah, I'll talk to people when I'm in the office this week.
Yeah, does Chaps watch it?
I just saw a tweet. He got fucking champagne popped with wifey Chaps.
All right, I could see that. Definitely. I asked Roan if he watched the show, and like a couple months ago, just when I was getting a feel of who would want to come on, and Roan was like, "I literally hate the show. I think it's like the dumbest, like least favorite thing ever," like in a nice way. And I was like, "Okay, Roan, like, all right." I was just like, "All right, like, cool. I just wanted to ask." And then he was like, "Do you think that'd be interesting?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like to have me on the podcast, like, the point of view of someone who hates it?" And I was like, maybe, but like you'll bum me out.
Yeah, we'll do that in the off season, maybe.
Yeah. All right, man. Happy Thrones Day, and I'll see.
Happy Thrones Day, everyone. And hey, keep the questions coming. Now we know how to look at our chat, so have questions ready for us. We'll do like a little late Q&A maybe once after we give the recap.
Okay, and if you could text me as soon as we hang up how to do that, I would really appreciate it.
All righty.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.